Welcome to WROL Broadcast. This is the Meta Report. Today I have with me Loot, and
Hey guys!
we're gonna talk about Superboy, who Loot is very high on and rebirthed on the first day he came out. That was impulse
That
rebirth.
is that is very true.
So you want to
So
give your
so
initial thoughts?
Superboy was my least. I had two characters over the last however many years DCL's been out that I hated. One was Penguin, and the other was Superboy. Penguin was reworked, and now I love him. And Superboy is very good now. I don't know. I'm just so happy that they pretty much changed his entire kit. Pretty much, almost the entire thing got changed, and I think they changed his gear set too, right?
Yeah, they changed his gear set. I'm not
Yep.
an expert on gear sets. That's more of a Kage thing. But
Yeah, they changed his gear set. They changed most of his skills. Got a facelift, and I liked him so much. I was like, yeah, I got to rebirth him like right now. It was like night and day, and bring him into Siege. It made sense to me. So I rebirthed him. He's pretty tanky now, a little tankier than before, and he can dish out pretty good damage too.
I am really, really liking him too. I initially thought he might even be an S tier character, which I'm not. After playing him more, I think maybe he's a strong A probably, but he's close, if not already there.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, because mine's now like a little bit stronger than a regular one, so
Yeah,
it's almost like an unfair critique. Um, but I think he's really close to it. I think he reminds me of like when we were on the fence about Penguin. We were like, well, is he? Isn't he? And I think the last time we did the review, I think we bumped him up. I think maybe this time I'd go with Superboy as probably an A tier. Definitely nothing lower than an A, and if not, on the border between A and S.
yeah,
But I think we need a little bit more time with him. And one of the things that I noticed is how well he shuts down the evasion meta, which obviously is a little dead right now, but he really put a nail in that coffin.
yeah,
They can't handle him at all.
yeah. He ends that, and he's so good against the hired gun dead shot teams too. That's
Yep.
he just ends it. So, and one thing I don't like is that when I'm using my Sun team, he just annihilates Catwoman because she can't hide behind Donna Troy and invisibility. So let's get into
Okay.
his abilities. His first ability, Super Slam, special damage to an enemy, purge 6 buffs. The Superboy has True Sight and can't miss. I think this is his first legendary upgrade and his bread and butter. This ability is just
It's his best
ridiculous.
ability. Yeah. And
And
there's one other ability that if you take I think one of the legendaries on it, it enhances skill one. One of I think one of the gates on his skill one is if he has true sight, it does something else.
yeah, he'll purge the 6 buff if he has True Sight. So that,
Right.
and then the
So
legendary upgrades can't miss.
one of his one I think maybe it's his passive. It's either his first or second passive. It always gives him true sight, no matter what, at the beginning of every turn. So it eliminates the gate on his purge.
Yeah, because he always has it. I mean, it just seems like all match, every match, as long as you have his, and it's his first passive, um, which we'll get to that in just a moment. His second ability, special damage to an enemy, gain 2 True Sight and gain 3 Intellect ups. So that, if he didn't have True Sight before, you just cast this, you get 2 True Sights, because maybe it got purged. And then you also gain Intellect up, which now he's an Intellect-based character, so he does a ton of Intellect damage, which is absurd. I
Yeah,
pers
and that's the laser beams, right?
Yeah.
Skill two.
hmm
Yeah.
And that one, I probably would take that fourth as an upgrade, just because I think the other abilities are more important, but the intellect ups are really nice.
They are. It just enhances his because originally Superboy's skill he was weird. Like his skill one was physical, but his skill three or two was special damage, and it just didn't make any sense. But now all of his skills are special damage, so the intellect ups are huge. And you can hit him with strength downs, and it does nothing.
Yep, that's that's awesome. His third ability, apply stun and 40% turn meter down to an enemy. And then his legendary upgrades 50% chance to use Super Slam, which is his basic, on a random target, 25% chance to use twice. And let me tell you, that ability is fantastic because you can purge with his one and then use his three to stun if you're facing Hal Jordan. But the other thing is when you're facing him, he uses that stupid punch twice almost every time because the AI always has
It
the extra
procs
advantage.
constantly.
So he's purging everything. He does his basic does a lot of damage. So it's horrifying because you can't hide behind taunts. It doesn't matter. He's just gonna punch through. I
And
do not like facing
if you
him.
can give him some intellect ups, that first skill is really becomes massive.
Yeah.
I haven't really figured out how to give him more intellect ups, mostly because there aren't that many intellect up buffers
Well, you
that
can use
are
Grodd,
acceptable.
which he's not that great, but he does do stuns, so you can kind of add stuns to him. Mary, I think. Oh no, Mary doesn't do it. I can't remember. There's a few other characters. Doctor Fate. There's a
Yeah,
few. There's
Fade.
not a lot, but
Not a lot. There's a couple, but the ones that are out there, they're just not that good.
yeah. I don't know. I need, like you said, we need more experimentation time. Normally we would do that over the weekend, but with raids, you didn't have time to do
It was
anything.
impossible.
So I would also take that ability probably second because I think that's one of his better abilities. His fourth ability, his first passive, at the beginning of his turn, if Superboy has no true sight, gain one true sight and one intellect up until the end of turn. The legendary upgrade of Superboy had true sight, 50% chance to gain death immunity. Which that doesn't seem to proc as much as you think it would, but it still procs pretty regularly. I mean, it's a good ability. I personally would take it last just because I think the other abilities are better. There might be an argument to take it fourth and leave off the intellect ups from his heat vision. I don't know. That's a really tough choice.
I haven't had that proc enough. That's skill 5, right?
Skill four, yeah,
Skill 4.
the death immunity.
He doesn't get death immunity. From the times when I've used him, I just haven't had that proc enough.
I did have
But
it
I was a
save me a
little,
couple times against Power Girl in one match.
well, that's helpful. That is
Yeah.
helpful. I was disappointed. I would have been really excited if that death immunity didn't change from damage immunity.
He'd be so overpowered. He'd be
That
re-
would be
he'd be the
ridiculous.
next Wonder Girl. You'd just be like just soloing teams, and yeah, it'd be too much.
It'd be too much. But man, that would have been cool.
His last ability, last passive, Natural Hero Instincts, at the end of each enemy turn, gain 25% turn meter up if an enemy has taunt or invisibility, which is almost every team. Apply 10% turn meter to all teammates. This is an underrated ability. I see some people saying they'd leave this off. That much turn meter, because when you're facing him and when you're using him, you just have turn meter for days. It's
Yeah, the
ridiculous.
turn meter really helps. And you want to know something interesting about the turn meter? When before WB changed the speed, like making it from 2 speed to 3 speed, and we were always seeing the animations.
Yeah,
Usually on a lot of those turn meter skills, it's the animations happen and you can't really see the turn meter change. But now that I don't have those animations, I can really see the turn meter go down and go up. It's like it opened my eyes to like what the turn meter can really do.
yeah. I'm gonna experiment with some turn meter manipulation teams with him. I haven't found his niche teams. That's kind of the only knock I have on him. Is I was trying to fit him into my stun team, and he doesn't quite fit because you need Killer Frost, and you also need Hal Jordan as too many greens. But there's definitely some turn meter teams to be had with him that will make it so that you just constantly take turns. I did face a team that had Iron Flash that he was on, and that was a nastier team than I expected.
Really.
Yes, I think there's some experimentation to be had with him.
Yeah, that Wally West. Not my favorite,
He's
but
underrated,
man,
big
he
time.
could be really annoying to fight.
So For legendary order, I had 1, 3, 5, 2, 4. I'm kind of torn between 2 and 4. Do you have a different thought on that?
Definitely one. I don't have his skill set in front of me right now, so I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, the 3 is his
So
stun that allows him to attack after he stuns.
yeah, that has to be his second. So 1, 3.
Then I took 5 as the turn meter up, his fifth.
What was 2?
2 is the 3 intellect ups on his heat vision.
I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to take that one next. I find that I don't use that skill enough.
Yeah, I took
I
5,
I
not
either
2.
want to
But
use 1 or 3.
yeah.
So I'm gonna go 5. I think I would do 2 last.
Yeah, kind of with you. I think that death immunity is more important than the intellect ups because I use the heat vision, but usually it's to finish off someone, and at that point I don't need the intellect ups anymore.
That's right. Yeah, I would say 2 last. I like your suggestion. 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 5, 4, 2. Was it?
Yep, 1, 3, 5, 4, 2. Yep.
1, 3, 5, 4, 2. Yep, totally agree.
All right. Well, we also have a message from Tewtytron. This was his favorite character, and unfortunately he couldn't make it on the podcast, but he did send me an audio clip. So we will end the show with Tewtytron.
Superboy! What's going on, guys? It's Tewtytron. Um, so, Superboy is one of my favorite characters in the game, and mainly because of his, like, stun potential, but he was also a cool character. He was one of the first people I went, like, all in on, and it kind of punished me for it, so I'm really happy for the rework. Um, there's a lot of good and bad. They nerfed him and upped him at the same time, but obviously the increase in stats and better kit is much more appreciated than the good things about his old kit. Um, they took away his stun potential on his basic, which is unfortunate. They took away his double turn stun on his 3, and they took away his turn meter to himself and allies based on any champion taunting or invisible. Now it only affects the enemy team or comes from the enemy team. So that's unfortunate. But the can't miss 6 buff purge on his basic, fantastic. His every turn true sight, amazing. It used to be 80%. Glad it's above that now. And I'm sad they took away damage immunity for death immunity, but it's essentially the same thing. You can't kill him, and that's fine with me because he hits much harder, which is fantastic. He whatchamacallit, perfect counter to the hired gun deadshot Red Robin combo. Like takes that out entirely. You don't have to worry about annoying Red Robin putting buff immunity on your tunes all the time. Um, really good counter to Harley Quinn. They really did a number on the evasion meta these last few months, which is fantastic in my eyes. Um, I'm not hate or anything, but my legendary order I used was 1, 3, 5, 4, 2. I think 4 and 2 can be interchangeable depending on what you value most, but I thought the 1 and 3 are essential for that evasion meta counter. The 5 is great for speeding your team up because there's almost always a taunter on the enemy team. So as soon as an enemy gets a turn, you're gonna speed up, and that's great. Um, the 3 is great for the double punch. It does happen regularly. It's pretty fantastic there as well. The int ups and the death immunity, I went with the death immunity first for survivability purposes, because you can't deal any damage if you're dead. So that's why I did that. And then I don't know, I'm just really happy about this. I feel like he went from F to S in my mind. He's a fantastic character, and I really hope that everybody gets a chance to use him. Thanks, guys. Hey everyone, it's Tewtytron. Thank you for listening to WROL Broadcasts. If you like the show, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/WROL Broadcasts. You guys think if I go out of my way next siege to lose to hate a bunch, that he might send me those dirty socks of his? I hope so.